We go deal with reporting. Now with this, we go to use a tool called Design Studios. We come with nearline storage when you go with BW.
So I can share this.
Yeah. See, HANA Studio is different, Design Studio is different. Now, Design Studio will be the dashboarding tool. Okay. And it is basically replacing your dashboard designer or Excel CS. Okay. And this is more lightweight based on HTML5, because when you basically design your dashboard with Design Studio, it is going to formulate HTML5 code in the backend, so it is more lightweight than your SW files from Excel CS or Dashboard Designer. So now we see many customers who are migrating from Excel CS or Dashboard Designer to Design Studios. The main important aspect of this is here. See, and we can also say this is more of a replacement to your Bex WAD. You remember we had WAD, Web Application Designer. This is more like a replacement towards it, and there is something similar to that. Yeah. And major important point about Design Studio is this. Okay, say let's say you have the Design Studios. This is the client tool. Right? Let's say we have the Design Studio client. Okay, this is a client tool. Right? Let's say this is a client tool. You connect the different source and you can say source objects. You connect the source objects as a data source. Okay. And let's say the person waiting for name, please log in with your name, boss. Okay. Hello? People who logged in as waiting for name, please log in with your name. Just wait for another 5 minutes and then I'll disconnect, please. Okay. So we'll take the source objects. It could be majorly HANA views or whatever it is, and then we design the dashboard by using Design Studio client software. Once we have designed the application, we don't say dashboard, we call it as application. Once we create the application using the Design Studio client software, we have to publish this into the portal so that users can start running those reports. So here the point is, we have 3 options. Okay. I have 3 options here. One is I can install Design Studio server as an add-on with BO Enterprise, not what BO server, okay, and integrate with the CMC. This is one option. Okay, or I can install Design Studio server with SAP NetWeaver BW. That is one option. Or I can install Design Studio server with SAP HANA Access engine. So once I've developed my application using the client Design Studio client software, I can install, I can publish this application or the dashboard into the BO enterprise server by installing Design Studio server in BOE, or I can publish it back to SAP NetWeaver BW by installing Design Studio server in BW, or I can install my Design Studio server on the Access engine of SAP HANA and then install publish it there also. I have three options. So Design Studio is not like a front-end component of BO, business objects. It can be worked out as, or we can set up Design Studio as a front-end tool for just HANA or BW or for BO enterprise also. Say for example, you have a scenario where customer has got only SAP HANA as their database and it does not have a BO licensing. You can still work out with Design Studio. You can have the client tool to develop the application and install your Design Studio server on Access engine of HANA database and then work it out. We don't need to have BO enterprise or BW. Or let's say your customer has got BW on HANA, you can still use, let's say the customer does not have BO application or BO software, you can still use Design Studio and publish the applications onto NetWeaver BW and execute in the portal, enterprise portal. So if customer has got BO enterprise, you can use it the BO. So this is the major benefit. So this can be used as a front-end tool for HANA or BW or BO enterprise also, anywhere. That is the main advantage of this. And one more point is like what can we access as a data source. For example, and one more thing is while logging into Design Studio, we can specify you're working with, you're using this as a front-end tool for HANA or BW or BOE. Suppose if you're using this as a logging in as a front-end tool for HANA, then we can only use HANA views as a data source, analytical views or calculation views as data source. Data source means the objects on which you can create your applications. Suppose if you log into Design Studio as a front-end tool for SAP BW, then you can leverage BEX queries as a data sources. And three, if you log in into Design Studio as a BOE, as a BO platform, then we can see the latest version is 1.6. From 1.5 they started supporting Universe, and we can also go with BEX queries or HANA views, not HANA views, HANA through Universe only. So based on like, see if you configure your Design Studio client software to work as a front-end client for HANA and then create your applications and publish it onto Access engine, then you can create your dashboard or applications on analytical view or calculation view. Similarly, if you install your server on Design Studio server on the BW and then you want to use client as a client set up on BW as a front-end tool, then you can use only BEX queries. If it is BW platform, you can use Universe or BEX queries. Now, this is how you get in. When I go to Business Intelligence, you'll have Design Studio and then Design Studio. Choose this option. See, when you're logging in, we also have local mode also. Yeah. Let me say skip. This is Design Studio. Welcome page. Just close it out. Here you have option. When you go to Tools, Preferences, here preferred startup mode, HANA, BA platform or NetWeaver bus. So this tells you whether if you want this Design Studio to be used as a front-end tool for HANA, then you will say HANA bus. Then you log into this tool with HANA credentials, and then the application what you design can be published onto Design Studio server, which is installed on Access engine of your SAP HANA server. Same if it is BW Bex queries, and then you publish the application to BW NetWeaver. Same if it is BA platform, then you basically connect to the universes and all those Bex queries, and then you get connected to publish the reports to BY interface, which is Launchpad. So let me say HANA and then say OK. Now since I've said HANA, when it starts now, look at this. What does it say? So I said startup mode is HANA, right? So now when I try to log into Design Studio, straight away it tries to connect it to the Access engine of HANA database here. See, the Access engine URL, it says I'm giving it as SAP Cubex 8001 is my Access engine system, and I'm giving SP9. Okay, means I'm logging into Design Studio using the credentials of HANA. It means it is being used as a front-end tool for HANA database itself. So since it is used as a front-end data source for HANA, now let me just close it and how do you create application here? Just say create new application. Blank is fine. Just say Z test. So create. So when I try to create application here, so you got to have lots of components. They've given a lot of components. You just have to use those components and design your application. Like say you have text box button, radio button, grid layouts, cross tab, charts, all those stuff. But for example, let's say now you get a cross tab into this application, and I want this cross tab to be shown. But it says assign a data. Cross tab is just like a component, just like a structure, but that needs some data source object which can feed the data for it. Yeah. So here in the outline, you create a data source. Now right click and say add data source. When you say add data source, look at this. It is by default connected to SP9, which is my HANA server. And when I say data source, it does show up me all the packages, analytical views or calculation views for me. So when I say create data source, it is only allowing me to choose either of these views here. Can we not see decision tables here? No, no decision tables. Now once I have the view, so view will have all the columns. See, unlike your Bix query would have a layout of the query saying what should be in rows and what should be in the columns. But the view does not have it, so I need to define that initial view. Right click on this data source and set it initial view. Now I can have to define this query. Now what I want this product category here. Okay, it's fine. I think it has got some variables, some prompts. You can click on this to get the prompts. Okay, what are the input parameters you have? It comes as a prompts automatically. You don't have to create anything. If you just click this T, that shows up the prompts here. So I'll say year 1, 2012, year 2, 2013. So, and then drag this view onto this tab, cross tab. So now this starts showing this data. I can start executing. See, now you can execute this locally to see how the output comes out. It is not popping out for the variables. What I'll do, in the application properties, you'll have property called force prompt startup, say true. So at the runtime you get this option. So this is like cross tab, I get to see the data. This is like a simple so since my startup mode is HANA, I'm able to access only the view as my data source. Yeah. So what I want is now I would like to change the startup mode. So I'll say BA platforms. So it only takes restart now. So when I go with BA platform, now I'll have to log in with the BO credentials. So now when I say BA platform, this will be used as a client tool as if it's a component of business objects enterprise. So I'm waiting with authentication and then BO login. I know I don't have that. I have some problem, but that's okay. Create new application. So bring in some cross tab. Create data source. Now see, it does not connect to any of this HANA database. I can choose my connections. See, I get to see universes here. I get to see connections to BW, the OLAP connections to BW as well as by universe. When I choose the OLAP connection of BW, I can start consuming the big square. Now browse. So I can select the big query and then choose that as a source bus. Okay. And if I choose the OLAP connection towards my HANA, then I can choose my HANA views. I can choose my 9QX PK. I can choose my analytical view or calculation views. Or I can choose my universe views. Getting this? Let me say startup mode as that viewer. Then it plays as if it's a front end tool for SAP Network BW. You can say universes. When in the platform, it supports universe and OLAP connections. Through this OLAP connection, I can connect to BW as well as my HANA also. See, now when I say BW, it will ask me which system you want to connect. These are my entries from the logon pad. I want to connect to this or NSP I'll connect, which my BW 001 QX. So I'm just logging in as if it's a front-end tool for BW. So once I log in, when I say create new application, now when I say create data source, since it is fixed to this system, so when I say browse, it only allows me to see the big queries from that system. So it acts as if it's a front-end tool for that particular BW system and allow me to access those big queries. Yeah. And take cross tab, then say initial view. So I'm okay with this big query. Since my big query already has got the layout like rows and columns, it shows me this. And then drag and drop this big query. And that's it. And set. This is a local execution mode. Yeah. Get output. And one more thing is I can start saving it back to say save. Execute on SAP portal. I've not configured it, so but it does allow me to start executing it onto the portal directly. Getting this? So this is the major important point about this design studio here. Now I would like to go with HANA. Very, very important. So depending on your startup mode, the data source what you can use will be different. Now I'm using it as if it's a front-end tool for HANA database. So when you choose a certain HANA database, you can start consuming only the views from that particular HANA database, and once you create application, you can publish that application back to the Design Studio server, which is installed on the Access engine of my HANA database. Now let me say create new application and then say. Okay. And one more point I forgot. When you work with startup mode as NetWeaver, SAP NetWeaver, where you're connecting to BW, we can also use input ready queries also for this. Like for planning, you can integrate IEP, integrate planning, input ready queries, integrating with planning functions, planning sequences, all those also. We can also design an application which can handle integrated planning also with the design studios. Okay. Now, say this is like sample application. Now, when you want to design this application, like you'll have the components block, which gives me a list of all the components what can be used in designing this design studio application. So we have analytical components like chart, crosstab, dimension filter, filter panel, geo maps, navigation panel, spreadsheets, and we have got basic components like button, checkbox, drop down radio buttons, images, list box, all those. And these are like container components, like where when let's say when you have multiple components, you want to organize them, you can use this grid layout, page books. If you're designing, and what are the dashboards applications you design that can be run on your mobiles also, iPad. Okay, they can be integrated easily with iPad. Yeah. So let's say when you are going with iPad, you want to give a page book effect, like a set of pages, like where they can scroll through, can design all those pop-up panels, all those. And we have an application outline which tells me what all components are used in this application and what data sources you want. all this, and any technical components you want to work it out, you can basically create a globe. You can write. You can come to that. We can have global technical components to be used, and here you'll have properties window. Let's say if I just bring in some chart, and you'll have the properties window. Here you get to see the properties of the chart, and you also get to see additional properties also. Okay. So it doesn't mean that you'll have additional properties for every component. Only for certain components you will see additional properties. Okay. Like this, you will basically use the components and start setting up your data source and design your design studio applications. And so it will be forming the HTML5 code in the backend, which is more lightweight. And if you want to do any kind of eventing, let's say I have two buttons. On a click of a button, I would like to do some operation. Or let's say I select some drop-down box. Based on the option what you select in the drop-down box, I would like to perform some event. So for all that, we use JavaScripting. Say, for example, I have this chart. On click of this chart, I would like to do something. So I can just say, see in the properties of the chart, I see on select, and we get in. Here you can start writing your JavaScripting to perform any of the dynamic events you want. Okay. Okay. So that is one for all the see it will automatically forming the code with HTML5, and all the dynamic events will be done with your JavaScripting. And one more thing is, if you want to do some kind of formatting, we have to use CSS first. For all the formatting, we have to go with CSS. For example, say, let me go here. So I would like to have a panel at the top. Say here I would like to have the panel, and I would like to color this. I would like to color this in the background. So I would like to do some background coloring. Yeah, there are two options. One is you can use CSS class, or you can go with CSS style. Now first, let me show you a CSS style, which we can implement it straight away here. Just get into CSS style and write your CSS class code for background color. I don't know how to write CSS. So what you can do is, let's go to Google and then say CSS background color. It tells me how to write the CSS syntax for the background. So background color yellow. Okay. So this is my style of writing. So get into this. If it's CSS style, straight away you can specify this background color equal to yellow. Say okay. You see the panel color has been changed as yellow. So like this straight away, if you have flexibility, you can give the CSS style straight away like this here, or we can go with CSS class. Now how do you go with class? Let me do this. What I'll do, let me create one CSS style sheet for the entire application. I'll say dot my panel, that is my class, and give all the properties of that class. Like this, you can have multiple classes. Say dot my panel 2, that is one class. This I'll say black something. Okay. Let me save this as a CSS, the desktop. My CSS file, save it as .css was. Okay, saved in. Now let upload this. Okay, now just select the CSS class. For this application, just select this application properties. You have custom CSS. Now select this and say for upload the CSS class. You are on the desktop. My CSS file. Okay, once I upload this into my server, now I can go to this component Instead of using this style, I can use any of my class. Whatever you defined with dot my panel, that is a class. Okay, I'll say my panel 2. That's my class. So when I use this class, it takes background color as in black. When I use this class, my panel, it takes background color as yellow. Like this, I can upload one big CSS file which will have all the complete cascading styles in it and organize as classes. I can use any class I want as a CSS class. So like this, I can go with CSS style or CSS class when you want to do some formatting. Okay, fine. That is one option of that is how you do formatting in your Design Studio. Okay, so let's create an application with some all this. Now I would like to organize it some bit more professionally. So I would like to have some panel at the top, and let me just take some. I want to have some block at the top, so I'll just take this. It comes there, but I want this to be organized at the top. So instead of dragging and dropping, what you can do is select this. Top margin is 42 here, so I want to make it to the top. So I'll say top margin is 0, and I want this left margin should be 0 completely. I'll say left margin 0. And then I want this height to be of say 45 is fine, or 40 is okay for me. 40 is okay. Then see it says height and width. Width I want it as, I will say right margin is 0. I'll say width as auto, and I want my left margin also to be 0. So it automatically adjusts it. So left margin, there will be no space on the left hand side. When I say right margin, there will be no space on the right hand side. And height is 40. Width is adjusted automatically. And the CSS I want this color as a background. You can also give the hexadecimal color. Since I've changed, I'll have to upload it again. Select the application. Done. Now I'll go to this panel. I'll use my class in black with the black. Saved this. Okay, Lucas. Not worry on this. I can just use a style. So I just wanted a panel at the top like this. Then I wanted to have some image as a logo. So I would like to have this onto this. Again, I can adjust this 0 top margin. I'll say height as, so that was 40. So I'll just something within this. So 37. So it will be within that limit. Width auto. Left margin, I want to have some other image of the left corner. So I'll just give some 10 left margin. So that not 10, I want it as 40 space. Then I want this image. Width, okay, width I want it as 710. So that's my space. And for image, I just want to select some in the image URL. It will ask me for this image URL. So I want that image to be fit in. That's okay. Then I would like to have some text. I don't need any formatted text, but normal text. I would have the text. And I would say top margin, I want to get it 0. Then already I have got 40 there. This is 120, 110, and then this is 40, 150, 170. So I'll say left margin, I'll take it as 170 something, or even more, 250, so it comes in the center. Okay, 0, and then height I want it as 37. Width make it as 170. And I want the text as say sales purchasing dashboard. Again, you can apply some CSS class with font, all those stuff, and then I'm sorry, but I want font size. That is okay. Like this, I can formulate my ribbon at the header. Then I would like to have some display of data in a cross tab. So I'll bring a cross tab. Cross tab, I want it towards the left. completely. So I'll just give the left margin as, let's say, 1. So not left, this is left margin as 1. And top margin, I want it after the ribbon, which is of size 40. So I'll give it as 41. And let's say width as auto. And then I will say right margin as 0. So it will be complete full stretch. And the bottom margin also 0. So it will be fetched to the bottom. It's height also is automatic, and top margin I want as 41. So it completely adjusted to the entire body. Then say assign data source. I would like to choose some view. I'll take this purchase order overview. So I got measures, and let me just take some company name, which is my customer name. That's okay. And assign this to this cross tab and execute. So this will be my cross tab. Completely scroll down and okay, boss. You can do much more formatting, but that's like showing that in the cross tab. But I have a different requirement. I would like to see a cross tab with this, and at the bottom I would like to see that as a chart. So I would like to reduce this. Say I would say bottom margin as see where it comes to. Still make it as 250. Okay, and bottom let me get the chart. So 250. This height is already 40. This is height. I'll set my height what I want. $250. So this margin should be 250 plus this 290. So top margin I would say 290, and left I'll say 1, and then height I would say 250. Right margin, it's width auto 0. So I get this chart. Now for this chart I say what type of chart I want. Column chart is fine, and I would assign the same data source to this. So it shows font KBS wise this one, but I want the company names here. So I'll say swap access. So I get this company names, and moreover I don't want so many companies. It doesn't make sense. It's edit initial view. We can also apply filter members. So I get to see one customer, and I can just apply filtering like this also. Okay. Instead of applying filter on this one, we'll take little bit down. So like this you can start getting a chart. And you're not getting to see the labels because of the width. I can adjust the width. I can say height as out, then let's see. So now you get to see those names also. So it's about format. So like this, you can get your charts, tables, and all that stuff. Now, if you see, I'm filtering this for this region, right? But I won't have this filtering to be done dynamically in the report. So I can just go with something like with some cross tab or something. Yes. So I would like to have a cross tab or some drop down box something here. How do I affect? I'll say drop down box, bring it out, and I'll try to create. See this ds underscore. What is this ds? Data source ds underscore. Let me create a copy of this. I'm creating one more data source ds2. For ds2, let me edit this. Let me get the regions in it. Now drag this ds2 to this drop down box and see which column you want to map it. I want to map the supplier region. So now this drop down box will start showing me all the regions. I get to see the regions, yeah, and all also. Now, but does not take any effect. If I choose anything, does not take any effect, right? Now, if you see this cross tab and this chart is getting feed from the DS1. So based on the value what I choose in the drop down box, I will filter DS1, which will automatically filter the display of the content in cross tab and the chart. So let me control the properties of the cross tab. Select this cross tab. On select, like what is it you want to do it on select. I can write with JavaScript to make it to what is it on select of this drop down box. It has to apply, get the value of the drop down box, and then apply it filter on my DS1. So when I apply filter on the DS1, which will automatically filter my cross tab and chart. How do I write? I can say control space. Look at this here. It says control space. You can do for help. And I'll just say. So DS1 dot. I would like to set the filter. Set filter for which dimension based on the region, and the value will be from the drop down box. What value I should take? Not this. I should take the value from the drop down box one dot. You should get the value from this. Get selected value. Get selected value from this. So I get the selected value from this drop down box, which I pass into the filter to my DS1. Now let's see. So that's about setting and getting the filter, nothing else much. I'll say EMEA. Then obviously it is filtered only for Europe region. Now if I select APJ Asia Pacific, it shows only customers of Asia Pacific. Now I select Africa, then you get to see customers only for Africa. And if I say and when I say all, I provide all options, so I get to see all the customers. So like this, we can provide some dynamic events on all members. Yeah. Okay, and see, I'm seeing what type of chart now. Say, I go with Asia Pacific, and I'm seeing this chart type as column chart, right? I would like to run on the runtime. My user should have the flexibility of choosing the chart types. You should be able to change like anything. So what I'll do, I'll go to my design studio. I'll just make a simple space around for the left hand side. Let me just give some margin of say something around 80. So it moves 80 and or much more. Say 150 and say let move here. So this length is 150, right? So let me. There's something called chart picker here. Hold on. I think this is old one, but you'll have something like chart picker through which way you can enable the user to choose the type of chart what he wants. That is fine. That's okay. So you can, like this, you can start designing a lot of complex dashboards what you want, and you can write scripting. You can bring some, and there's one more option of icons. Yeah, special type of images can. I want an icon at the top, like normal in. I want it here. So if you don't, I can control from here. There's some ready-made icons which is delivered by SAP. Then for most of the mobile apps, you'll have a menu bar at the to the left corner. I want to bring in that. Say, top 0, I will say. Left, I would say 1. That's fine. And then I want that height to be only, width to be only 40, or even 38, I would say. So height I want as only 37. And I would like to choose image with menu. We'll have an icon for menu. And remove the background color. Okay, start running. So now you start getting that image. The top, like you can perform some event of this on click of this image. Let's say you want to bring some menu bar to the left hand side. We can do that. So I can bring in some panel. I want this height to be so much and so much. And let me say my panel something like black. Okay. Initially, I'll set this visibility to false, so it will not be shown. Then on click of this, I'll pop up this panel. On click, what I want, I'll take this cross tab. I'll put some left margin. Set left margin as 300, and I want to put that left margin for chart dot set left margin as again 300, and then panel what we brought in, the panel dot set visible. I'll have to show this out. Then apart from showing, I want to set this width, set left margin as 0. Then I'll set width as 300. Now let's see this. So you run this. On a click of this, that moves the table and the chart moves towards right, and my panel comes in. You can have some menus in this panel, and you can place some menus. And on a click of this something, again when I click this, it should be closed down. You can do all the stuff, or you can have some small close button here which will close that out. So within this panel, I'll try to bring in some button. If you want to have the button inside the panel, select this panel, right click on this panel here and add create child. You want the button to be added. Where is create button? So it will be part of that, and that too I want it to be something to the part of here. So I'll have the button name as say close. So I just want to do quite opposite to that functionality of this. On the click of close, I'll set this as 0. Then I have to move them back to the left corner. I'll set this false 0 and width as 0. So let's run. Like this, you can have button, all the stuff. So when you click this, you get the panel out, and when you want to close this panel, you can close it out. Like this, you can make more dynamic display. And one more thing in the filter, I would like to move this table to the bottom a little bit. My top margin is 41, so I'll make it as 61, 81, and I would like to have one more panel. I'll call this filter panel. I'll say 41. Height would be only 40. Width auto. So right margin 0. So let it take full stretch. My panel. And then we have a component called filter component, which allows you for filtering, filter panel. Not the panel, it's a dimension filters. దీంట్లో లేదా filter panel. Okay, in this panel, within this panel, I'll try to bring in some filter panel for you, which will allow you for dimension drill down and all the stuff. Filter panel with that, and assign we should see close button, and let me assign this data source 1 onto that, and we can choose what all dimensions you want. I don't want all this purchase order ID, remove them. Product type, category, price and currency does not make sense. City, building, product name. Even measures does not make sense. These are, I can move up and down, I can arrange that. And I want this to be acting as not only for filtering, I want also drill down. So the filtering and navigation also. Say save in. Let's run this. So now I click this, it shows up my, see the panel what I had, I'm trying to put that my drill down here so that I can dynamically get that out and close it out. I can get the drill down anytime what I want. So now I would like to do a drill down on region. Select this drill down and apply. See in the table, you get to see now the region and the company name. I would like to remove the company name. So company name, remove the drill down and say apply. Again, I can close this if you want. And now I don't have this. Now again, I would like to do some filtering of this region. You can click on this filter, America, then apply, then close. So you can like this. You can also play the navigation block with drill down, filtering, and all this. There are lots of components. You just have to play around these components. So that is your design studio. And more help on this, you have an official product tutorial. If I go to Google, SAP BW. So if you go to the product tutorial, you'll have it for entire business suite, and if you go down, you will have it for design studio. If you just get in, so there are some ready-made videos like by SAP. Just go through these videos, should help you. So this is just like overview on how this tool works out as a design studio. Sir, can you show using input field, and by click on submit button below input field, the cross tab value of tax amount should be changed by factor given in input field. Yeah, you can do. Then in the first of all, in the HANA view, you have to create a model that way, where you use input parameter in the calculate column. Then basically take this input parameter in a text box and then map it to that. So I need to create a model and then use it. First of all, create your HANA model where you have a calculate column where tax percentage has been used as an input parameter. Then come here, then you basically, we have something called, some click of a button or something, I can say reload data source. You can say data source one dot reload data. When I say reload data, it will be refreshed again. So take the value from the text box, set the prompt variable. You can set the variable values here. Set variable value. Say variable name. If your input, if there's any input parameter, it takes me the parameter name, and the value will be the value from the text box, and you pass it. Once you set the variable value, I'll say reload this. Reload my data source again. So when I do this reload, first it will pass the value. What are the value we have in the text box? You pass value to this variable, which is input parameter in your view, which will be used in the calculate column. Then you will say reload. So after it takes that value, it reloads the data source, and the calculations are reflected. Yeah. In fact, you can use JavaScripting and do lots of stuff. Yeah. Can we use CV variable? The variable should be different. Calculation. We have to create input parameter in the calculation view for dynamic calculate column for percentage. Then take the value from the text box and pass the text box value to that variable. Yeah. So because there will be no end on this. And one more thing is, it has got its own SDK also. When I say SDK, you can. So what are the components we have? You can develop your own custom components. And you can say tools, install extensions from Design Studio. If you have an URL, if you have the zip file, then I can install those new SDK components. So apart from the standard components from SAP, you can also go with SDK components also, which will be developed for your own custom purpose also, possibly. This is just an overview on how to use the Design Studio. Like this, you can explore more on this tool. Yeah. Fine. We'll start. Yeah.
One question. We have designed all this in Design Studio, right? This
Yeah.
charts and
Yeah.
how do we, deploy it to the
Yeah.
user or the
Got it.
customer?
Since I said it is on HANA, right? You can start saying export. Not sorry, export. Say save as. When you say save as, you're actually saving this application in HANA Studio bus. Z test 91 in HANA database. If you go to HANA, you'll have something called Design Studio here. Look at this. We have installed Design Studio server in little bit. What was that name? Z test 91. So you see this application like Z test 91. It will have all, and you can this can be when you need to do some configuration. Then you can have it something like Launchpad, where user can the Launchpad also will be installed on Access Engine. So users can just log in onto the Launchpad, which is on Access Engine. They can start running this application. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So you'll have concept like how to integrate Design Studio with HANA bus. Yeah. That's a separate configuration how you do. You don't have to worry. Basis will do that configuration. But once it is configured, when you start saving the application, it will get saved into HANA. Then you can start exporting that from the Launchpad. Like you'll have the Launchpad within HANA database on the Access Engine. You'll have like Access Engine server / Launchpad. You'll have that option now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is what I was trying to expect because
Simple. If
the
you
launch
see that
the user can able to use.
the job will say execute, when you say execute on HANA, it starts running on SAP Cubex 801, SAP BI, so on. So look at this application. Yeah.
Yeah.
It will take a lot of time to run, but that's okay. So this is how you can work it out on Design Studio. So tomorrow we'll just touch on Lumira and then other small tools, and then finish up reporting for tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.